We have some things at the airport to go to this afternoon, some things we're going to talk about. Obviously, today was supposed to be a lot about reopening from COVID. We did have the market this past weekend. We had a number of other things that are happening. We're supposed to be opening community centers, but however, obviously the challenge, the biggest thing today is going with the Tropical Storm Delta, which does appear that it is very likely to impact us. We are continuing to monitor it, and we're encouraging residents to do the same and prepare accordingly this particular time. We've been in contact with state and county and expect a declaration of emergency tomorrow. Then the county will be laying out plans. Our staff and their staff have been working this since yesterday. We realize that it does appear very likely to have impact to our area. If this sounds familiar, it sounds like a Category 2 hurricane coming to Louisiana that is expected to turn east. Sounds a lot like Sally. So we are making plans accordingly at this particular time. We continue to watch the forecast. Again, at this point, Tropical Storm Delta is expected to approach the northern Gulf Coast as a hurricane, potentially Category 2. And while we're totally, there is some certainty in the track, again, at any point, these things can change. One of the things that does appear very likely is that this thing is going to turn and go east as soon as it comes a certain distance. So again, that is going to put us one way or another. While we may not be, we're still trying to. We don't know. There's uncertainty for our intensity at this particular time. It does appear that we are going to have a significant amount of rainfall, and we will have wind. The intensity of that wind is, at this point, is too hard to predict, but it could be anything from a tropical storm to a hurricane, Category 2 hurricane. At this point, we are asking you to prepare for either. And at this point, we want you to start making your preparation plans, get things together. Again, at this particular time, we believe that we will be continuing to move forward with all of our preparations as much as we can during this week. We feel like Monday through Thursday, we'll be able to do as much as we can to begin to be prepared. One of the biggest things is obviously where we stand with debris cleanup. We understand many of you are out there asking about debris cleanup. We have done about 4,000 loads in 176,635 cubic yards. That is over half of the projected, and we've done that since September 1st. So within 2 weeks, essentially, we have done almost half of all the stuff. Unfortunately, that means to get completed, we would have another 2 weeks of work to do. Now, this week we will be working, and we are going to be working feverishly to get as much as we can up. But it is very likely that perhaps a quarter of Sally debris will not be picked up and will be on the side of the road. At this point, we begin to ask you to figure out a way to secure as much of that as you can out there. It is likely that we may not be able to get to you because we will have to suspend service after Thursday. But we do expect to be working and continuing to do service through Thursday. We appreciate your patience. Again, we still have close to half of the amount that is going to be left out there for doing it. We have approximately 59 contract crews, and 11 city crews are currently working to complete the first sweep. They are feverishly working at this point. I talked at length to John Pittman this morning. It is the biggest thing that we're talking about. I talked to Robert Bender. I've been in correspondence with Robert Bender, Commissioner Bender, Commissioner Berry, and Commissioner May. And I can tell you in my phone conversation with Commissioner Bender, I know he is pushing debris pickup as much as possible in the county as well. So both the county and the city are actively trying to pick up debris at this point. But we ask that you have patience with us. We have crews out there picking up. We'll be focused on those areas that are going to be most impacted by potential flooding. We are also working with our public works crew to make sure as many gutters is cleared out as possible. If you have a gutter around you, though, we certainly would greatly appreciate any assistance you could do on your time to help unclog that gutter. It could save you and your neighbors a potential flood experience. So again, anything that you can pull out along the side, we don't want you to get into the gutter, but anything you can pull that you can see physically, if you can sweep, rake, get something out of those gutters to make sure they don't clog with limbs, that would be greatly appreciated. Our crews will be going around trying to get as much of it as they can between now and Friday. So again, that's where we are at this particular time. We have city building facilities are reopening today. City of Pensacola administrative offices, City Hall, most of the city community centers will be open. Exceptions are all City of Pensacola parks remain closed until further notice due to Hurricane Sally. The Bayview Senior Center and the Theopolis May Center will remain closed to the public until further notice. For virtual programming offered by the Senior Center, please continue to follow Bayview Senior Center on Facebook. The Theopolis May Center is currently housing volunteers with Team Rubicon, who are helping us with cleanup of debris in yards. So they will continue to be there. Roger Scott Tennis Center hard courts have reopened, but the clay courts remain closed. And at this point, we will get open up Osceola, but obviously all of that will be open through Thursday. Anything beyond Thursday, we aren't sure at this particular time, but it is likely things could be closed Friday and over the weekend. We'll know more as we go forward. We will be doing a Facebook Live on Wednesday, so Casey and I will get that ready. Obviously, with the hurricane coming, we will take the time to communicate what is happening with the hurricane and what may be happening with some of our offices. So we will be communicating that to you as we know more about the Hurricane Delta as it approaches. The other big thing we had to talk about today is how excited we were about the FEMA individual assistance. They obviously are in the area. This will be good in the event that we have other stuff. At least they're here. Their teams are located here and actively being involved in Escambia County. Escambia County received FEMA disaster declaration for individual assistance on Friday. This declaration will allow those who have been impacted by Hurricane Sally to apply for individual and household programs. To file a claim for assistance, you must first register with FEMA in one of the following ways. You can call 1-800-621-3362. You can register online at disasterassistance.gov, or you can download the FEMA app on your mobile device and register using the app. You will need to register in one of these three ways. Again, 1-800-621-3362, or register online at disasterassistance.gov, or download the FEMA app. So we ask for you to do that. FEMA has opened mobile registration centers for Hurricane Sally survivors in Escambia, Okaloosa, and Santa Rosa counties. These mobile registration intake centers are staffed with FEMA personnel who can assist you in registration, answer questions about disaster assistance programs. Those center locations in Escambia County are the Southwest Branch Library at 12248 Gulf Beach Highway, the Brownsville Community Center at 3200 West DeSoto Street, and the Escambia County Extension Service at 3740 Stefani Road. Again, perhaps the closest one for most of our citizens is the Brownsville Community Center at 200 West DeSoto Avenue. The centers are open daily from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. However, you must register first. So we ask you to register and then figure out which center is the closest and most convenient to you. Again, we continue to be picking up, and we will pick up as much debris as we can. This week starts Fire Prevention Week. Pensacola Fire Department is teaming up with the National Fire Protection Association to promote this year's Fire Prevention Week. Serve up fire safety in the kitchen. Fire Prevention Week runs October 4th, which was yesterday, through October 10th. I had the opportunity to be there with the fire inspectors to do a live broadcast. We did late last week. We did with the fire team. That will be airing on our social media. It talks about several things that if you have a fire in your kitchen, how to best prevent it and how to address it. Certainly one of the biggest challenges we see are grease fires, which we will talk about those things and what you need to do. Obviously, do not throw water on those. Place something on that takes away the oxygen, but you can take a look at that. It's a great thing to show your children. If you haven't had the opportunity to sit down with them and talk to them about fire safety, we really encourage you, if you have not talked to your children about fire safety, to find a way to see that film with them and talk about some of the things that are going on in your home. According to the National Fire Protection Association, cooking is the leading cause of home fires and home fire entries in the U.S. Almost half, 40% of reported home fires start in the kitchen. 2/3 of home cooking fires start with ignition of food or other cooking materials. We encourage you to practice fire safety every day, especially in the kitchen. And for Fire Prevention Week, we ask you to visit fpw.org or stay tuned for the Pensacola Fire Department's Facebook page. They will have that link there. It's a great thing for you to sit down with your children and talk about fire safety in your own home. City meetings this week, we have several of them. Today we will have the City Council Agenda Conference at 3:30, followed by the CRA and Council Chambers. Tuesday we have the Citizens Police Advisory Committee at 5:30 at Hagler Mason. And on Thursday we have the City Council's regular board meeting at 5:30. Members of the public may attend council meetings and other city meetings in person. However, there will be limited seating capacity consistent with CDC guidelines. And those attendees will be required to sit at least 6 feet apart and to wear face coverings that cover their nose and mouth during that time. Members of the public may also attend and participate via live stream or phone. For more information of how to participate, please refer to each meeting's agenda. And again, I highly encourage you, if you're unable to wear a mask or for some other reason, please call. You can still call in. If you feel so inclined that you do need to come down, you can come down, but we're gonna require face coverings at that time, and we're gonna limit seating so that you're 6 feet apart. As far as COVID-19, there are now 12,478 positive cases. 11,332 of those are residents. Since the last update, our positivity rate has been down at 2.77%. October 1st was 1.4, and October 2nd was 2.09. Hospitalizations have been hovering around 50. We were on October 1st, we were at 50. Then we went October 2nd to 47, October 3rd to 49, and yesterday, October 4th, we're back at the 50. So again, we've been continue to hover right there at that 50 level of hospitalization. So again, we've seen what the masks have been able to do, and we're continuing to hover at those points. I will be talking with hospital administrators today we will be talking about that at 2 o'clock and continuing to talk about what we're going to be doing with COVID. We continue to watch it, and it continues to be a very much of our priority. Obviously, at this point, both cleanup from Hurricane Sally and now preparation for Hurricane Delta certainly are at most at the forefront of what we are doing and what we are doing going forward. We will be in touch then. We will have a Facebook Live on Wednesday that deals with much of the hurricane. We'll also be happy to answer any questions related to COVID at that particular time, but we will be much more focused on hurricane preparations and what we need to do. Lastly, I do want to say I very much appreciate Amy Parker and Tia Robbins had invited myself, Chief Craner, and Chief Leiter up to visit the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery, the museum, the Legacy Museum, as well as the park that they have there in Montgomery. We were asked to do this back in June. Obviously, things were going on. We rescheduled, had no idea it was going to be here. It was a very moving experience. Certainly, I appreciate the opportunity. We did have certainly the whole trip was we were invited by Ms. Robbins and Ms. Parker. I will say there seems to be some consternation that there was a candidate that showed up, but she was for city council seat. She was a guest of the other individuals. Was not there in any form to campaign. She was there. There's been a little bit of discussion as to what happened, but at this particular time, she was there as a guest, and and was not there necessarily campaigning. I realize everything always happens, and social media always seems to pick up on every little thing. But she was a guest. She happened to be there with us at that time. We certainly appreciated Tia Robbins and Amy Parker arranging for everything. Even though Tinyati Broughton was their guest, again, from our standpoint, we were there just to visit and see and talk and discuss. It was a good, I guess, visit for us, and again, it was very moving. And again, at this particular time, I'm sorry that it seems to have caused some confusion with the fact that one person that visited, because of their knowledge, was a city council candidate, but that was in no way, they weren't the guest of the city or in any way they're connected with the city. So at this particular time, I will open it up to you and your questions, and I'm happy to answer anything that's going on.
Sure. The first question, if you would, at Channel 3. What kind of feedback have you received from city residents regarding the ECAP Tiger Point? We in the media are hearing concerns about how to get to work on the other side. We also noticed this morning the buses were empty. Is there anything that officials in both counties and cities of Gulf Breeze and Pensacola are doing to encourage ride sharing?
At this particular time, we have not been as focused on that. I know that we continue to be in conversation with DOT, and I probably should have put that in the notes for this morning for us to talk. I appreciate you bringing it up. We did meet last week with DOT. They did talk with us. They indicated, obviously, it was weather dependent, but their expectation for what they saw in the damage was going to be 6 months from the date of the hurricane, which was September 16th, which was the expectation. About March 16th, they would be able to finish. Again, that's weather dependent. If we continue to have storms that delay them, it could be longer. But at that particular time, one of the things that I'd been assured by the state, and talking with both Secretary Tebow and Secretary Gaynor. Secretary Gaynor is our regional secretary. Secretary Tebow is the overall secretary for DOT. In talks with both of them, they had assured me that there were other things they were looking at. They did bring up this thing about buses. There's certainly one way to do this and move people back and forth. Our particular thought process is that ferries would have been perhaps better utilized and in a better way to do this. We continue to stay focused on the ferry if that's an opportunity. However, it was going to require, to really make it work, it's going to require DOT Skanska related to go ahead and be somehow in charge with the ferry and bringing that in. That's probably a little bit bigger than that's perhaps a little bit bigger than what is happening with buses in general. But from our standpoint, we're going to continue to have dock space open for those that want to charter and have those experiences. Go back and forth. We will certainly encourage as many people to take the bus, but I think perhaps you're seeing some of the challenges that we expect that a ferry system may be more utilized, more productive than a bus. So Randy, you confirm what I thought, but it wasn't. Again, this is not the items that we're pushing. These are the items that DOT is pushing. We continue to stay ready if a ferry system does materialize. We certainly believe one way or another we are working for dock space that would be there for private charters. We know several businesses are looking into chartering for their employees back and forth, and we plan to have places available for them to land at the city of Pensacola. We plan to have, if ferries go that way. Again, we certainly encourage people to use buses, but if people choose not to use the bus, I don't know what to do at this particular time. I think probably all of us should be focused on transportation that people will be utilizing. And I think probably what happens by the time you pick up the bus, you take the whole route, you might as well just have taken your car. It's not helping get the cars off there. I think the ferry would help get cars off there. But again, this is not going to be, the city cannot afford to take on the ferry itself. The city will have facilities that will be available for both charter and ferry service if people choose to do that. Let me also, also a big thing that I'm seeing related to that. I know several citizens are communicating to me and probably to you guys as well. Please make sure that Skanska knows what to do. We are communicating with DOT, and it is our expectation that they will get with Skanska. There's been a lot of also questions about what's going to happen with the barges that are out there. I don't know. I agree. We obviously we're concerned about that as well. But from at this particular time, we will try to make do the best we can. Many of those barges are on land, and we would have to have a significant storm surge back the same that we had the Sally to even begin to refloat those. So at this particular time, we are concerned. We don't know where it goes. We are trying to communicate that to DOT, and more importantly, the barges that Skanska has back in the water. We have told DOT, obviously, this is a concern, and expect that Skanska will act accordingly. So that is the biggest thing I'm getting emails about from citizens. That debris pickup is my biggest, what we've heard. I continue to tell citizens on debris pickup, we are working as hard as we can this week to pick up as much as we can between now and Thursday. It is doubtful that we will get all 50% picked up this week. So there could be places that still have debris. The best question I've got for you, and best answer I've got for you, is just try to figure out some way to secure it as best you can. But we are out there trying to pick up as much as possible.
All right, and this is from Andrew McKay. Just asking if in-person attendance starts today with the agenda conference. Yes,
we should be. I believe we're going to be in City Hall chambers so that you can be there. Again, if you will be required to wear a mask. If you can't wear a mask, we ask that you stay home and participate virtually, and do that. But you will be spaced, and I guess seating will be limited. But it's an awful big space. So usually for agenda review, we don't get that many people, but we will be open.
All right, and this is from Randy Wood at Channel 3. Does the city have the option of activating even more debris removal crews between now and Friday?
Randy, we don't. We have 59 crews out there and 11 city crews. At this particular time, we have as much as we have. We've been picking up probably between 16,000 cubic yards to about 20,000 cubic yards a day. Even if we went up to 20 and we're picking up the most we picked up for 3 straight days, we would still be about a quarter of the way not finished. It's just the physical impossibility. I mean, we had a Category 2 storm. To be picked up in 1 month, 4 weeks is a tremendous credit to John Pittman and his department. They were going to make that deadline. Obviously, nobody was planning for Delta. So to get 3/4 of it picked up in 3 weeks is still going to be amazing to me, and that's what we're shooting for. I realize that doesn't help you if you're in the 1/4 that didn't get picked up. I would tell you the good news is if there's any storm debris from Delta, you'll be the first to be picked up, and yours will get all picked up. That's the one perhaps shining sort of one of those the silver lining in the clouds. So unfortunately, we can't pick up everybody. There's just too much left on the ground. But I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose sight of what we have achieved. We've gotten over 50% now. We believe we'll be at 75% by the end of Thursday. I talked to John Pittman this morning. He is working the crews sunrise to sunset, and has talked with the contractors about doing as much as we can. So we're going to try to pick up as much as we can. Certainly going to be working with Derek and his people to make sure as many gutters are cleared out as possible. So we're going to work and do as much as we can, but we fully realize that we will not be able to get everybody picked up probably by Thursday.
And I did want to clarify earlier, I think you said since September 1st, but we only started on September 21st. So that's why I was trying to hold up to show you. 21st is exactly when we started. That is 2 weeks ago. Yes.
So again, we picked up 50% of all the debris from a hurricane category 2 in 2 weeks. That is extremely aggressive. We just simply are running out of time with Delta. I mean, we didn't anticipate what's happening with Delta, but for us to be 3/4 of the way through that's going to be substantial at that point, and we feel like most everything's are again there.
And this is from Kevin at the News Journal. Has the city had any communication with Skanska regarding removing and/or securing barges prior to Delta?
Again, we've communicated with DOT that we believe this is something they need to pay attention to. We've said this. I mean, I've talked to the gentleman from Skanska who called me and told me that he was coming here. I told him that if there's ever a hurricane in the Northern Gulf, you just put everything in. It's that simple. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. So I hope they're doing that. I would say that's what I'm getting. That and debris is the number one, number two biggest things I'm hearing from constituents. We shouldn't have to go tell DOT or Skanska to take care of things. That's what we're doing right now. We're telling you citizens prepare and take care of things, but we'll also communicate that to DOT and to Skanska.
This is from Jeremy in Weekly. Did your visit to Montgomery spark any ideas or efforts that could be done here in Pensacola?
Absolutely. I mean, these are things we're already working on. I mean, I don't think it changed anything new, but it certainly confirmed many of the things that we are already working and we already have been doing. Like I said before, I think the city of Pensacola and certainly the city police force, and I think also the city of Pensacola Fire are at the cutting edge of almost everything that's going on. So at this particular time, I think we're continuing to lean forward in those areas related to social justice. I'm not saying we're all going to agree on every single thing that we do, but I do believe that you're not going to find anyone else in Northwest Florida or really the entire Gulf Coast region that is leaning forward as much as the city of Pensacola is. So I think we will continue to be doing that. And we continue to have some discussions. There was discussion there with Tommy and his team as we're doing that since training that we've been doing, implicit bias training, that perhaps we include some kind of visit to that museum that's possible. We're looking at ways that could be done. But at this particular time, we continue to work on what we're doing right now. We continue to be working with implicit bias. We've been doing that. We continue to be working with all the other things that we're doing. And we don't think there's another group anywhere close to us in this region that is doing and is leaning as far forward as what we've seen with our Citizens Advisory, Police Advisory Committee, and the other things that we are doing. But it was a good trip. It certainly showed, I think us that we are the things that we are doing are doing for the right reason in trying to promote social justice.
This is from Andrew McKay. He said, it sounds like you're saying the ferry is a dead proposal.
I don't know that the ferry is a dead proposal, but I asked the question twice when I was with DOT and nothing happened. I think the problem is I think DOT is committed to the ferry. I think the challenge is going to be cost. And I think the question was always, is Skanska going to pick up the cost? Because they would be the natural people that should. It's actually taking potentially cost away from what they would have to do with litigation. But it doesn't sound like DOT. I'm just reading between the lines. But again, I don't know. I mean, I think if I were the president of Skanska, I would be thinking more proactively. I would be thinking about how to do some of these things, but I'm not. I'm the mayor of the city of Pensacola. I will continue to be focused on how I can prepare my community to have those assets done, but those answers are going to go beyond us. I think more than anything else, I simply think the going the bus route is apparently not working according to what Randy says, and it does not surprise me that that's not working. But if you pick up the bus in Gulf Breeze and you ride it all the way around to Pensacola, you might as well just have gone ahead and brought your car. I mean, that's why the ferry cuts that, changes those opportunities. it gives things that we would not normally have. But anyways, that's just my thoughts, and we'll continue to pursue the assets we need to do for the ferry.
This is from Kevin at the News Journal. Beyond the lingering debris, what are the biggest challenges in preparing for back-to-back hurricanes?
Obviously it's just sort of, certainly one of the big problems is Public Works has done an incredible job pumping down all of our ponds. All of our ponds are pumped down, so they're ready to take on additional stormwater charge if we need to. One of the biggest challenges we have other than that is we don't know what got caught into the pipes, leaves and other stuff, trying to clear gutters. So that's where we are at this particular time. And as you can hear, my dog has realized that the yard people are at my house. So I apologize, but I'll try to do what I can.
All right, and I don't see any new questions.
I am here at the house today simply because I've got to go to the airport. We have an opening for a new air service coming into our small airport, but it will be available. We'll be here today for that. So thank you for indulging me and letting me be here today at my house.
All right.